And now here we are to wrap up our commentary on the season 1 finale rock video. Also, why not talk about season 1 as a whole? Part 2. Anywho, we go to scene 5. A majority of the Winslow family and Urkel in the living room. They're getting ready to watch Eddie's rock band video, and Rachel comes in not expecting that the video was already finished because she just finished a revised copy of the script. Oy vey, Eddie, with your non-communicative impulses as the captain of this ship. What is going on?
He's not leading well. Not at all.
Yeah. And oh God. And then Jesus Christ, when they actually play the music video, woo, I'm going to say like the music video that we see at the end compared to this first one, that's a great music video. This one was funny, but it was only funny because of how bad it was, because it was just various shots of Eddie with his purple suit lip singing to a very basic 90s funk hip hop percussion instrumental. He just took narcissism to a whole new level on this one.
It's so bad that it's good. Like, it's that bad where I'm like, okay, I would watch this again.
And then I love how Kyle the drummer angrily exclaims that only his right foot was seen in the video. Where was this? Because I literally only saw Eddie. Like, I didn't even see a right foot from anybody.
I didn't see it, and I watched it 3 times. I did not see another foot or anything in that video.
The video starts off with 2 feet dancing, but I think those are Eddie's feet.
Yeah, those are Eddie's feet when it starts. So I don't know whose foot. I didn't see anybody else's foot. I didn't see anything or any part of anybody else in there.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to tell Rodney, like, stop blaming Urkel, because, of course, Rodney was just like, oh, Urkel, you fucked up. Like, no, Eddie fucked up. You're not that dumb, Rodney.
Yeah, Eddie did not have the camera.
Yeah, I mean, he knows just like you should have known from the get-go that the song that you guys were leading with is about Eddie. Like, you should know that Eddie is the narcissistic one. I mean, he made it clear to you earlier on in the episode that he's the guy that is making the decisions. Everything goes by him. And luckily, Urkel does make it clear when he's kind of backed into a wall that this was all on Eddie. And then, I had a comment. So I really didn't like the fashion of Jerry, the other band member. Like, he was wearing like a tie-dye shirt with a vest that I think was overfilled with rhombuses. I think there were rhombuses on his vest, right?
I think so. It was hideous. That thing was ugly.
It was something. And then Rodney, I felt like Rodney had some bad teenage acting with the way he shoved Eddie aside towards his exit. The particular line I'm thinking of was like, Eddie, this is supposed to be a band, not a one-man show. I quit. Like, on the I quit line, he just did this like really like not very convincing shove to Eddie as he exited.
It was bad improv. Where it's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You should just left.
Yeah. And then as all of Eddie's band members walk out on him, I love how Eddie is exasperated and asks Laura, of all people, if the video was good. I was like, Eddie, do you know your sister? What do you think she's gonna say?
Yeah, he was hoping, and I can see why he hoped, but Eddie should just let it go. You just should have let it go.
Laura, it was nice. It was good, right? Eddie, it stunk. And then Judy, on ice. I've never heard that. Have you heard that expression? Something stinking on ice?
No, I've never heard that.
And then I loved Harriet exclaiming to Eddie that wasn't a rock video. That was a love letter from Eddie Winslow to Eddie Winslow. And at the same time, while loving that line, did you get the feeling of like the show going back and forth between drama and comedy in this scene? Like, they didn't really quite know where they wanted to lean on, because it was like, okay, are we taking seriously the fact that Eddie fucked up with his band members? Are we laughing at Eddie's video? Like, I don't know.
I'm with you. The energy was up and down. Like, I was trying to figure out, are we serious at some points? Because there was no serious faces. Mm-hmm. But then some of the jokes were good. But then it was like, oh, these are really like reading Eddie. So what are we doing here?
Right. And Rachel's walkout line, I felt did not make sense. She was like, oh, like they say, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. Probably her weird way of just being defensive about Eddie not using her revised script. But you know what? Look, I'll give it to her. It rhymes. It's catchy.
It was catchy. It was a good little like snip. So I liked it.
There you go. Oh, God. Mama Winslow. Mama Winslow. What do I say about Mama Winslow? So her
She's the star. She is the star. This is why she is the star. It's so good.
I think this is the last line of the scene. Yeah. So Mama Winslow's walkout line, I just laughed so fucking loud. So at first, when she motioned Eddie to sit next to her, I thought she was going to give some elderly wisdom. That's what I thought was going to happen. But she just pleasantly surprised me. She just said, Eddie, you know I love you and wouldn't want to say anything to hurt you. Good night. And then she just walked off, and I was like, oh my God. Oh God. Good night.
That was grandmother Winslow wisdom. She gave Eddie a gem that I feel like everybody in this generation needs to learn and understand. I am not going to say anything to hurt you. I'm just going to leave. That was more powerful than anything that anybody else said.
Yeah, I mean, so it's still elderly wisdom, but in a very wonderful comedic twist. I loved it. You know what? I'm going to put that above any serious elderly wisdom Mama Winslow has ever given. Because while the serious elderly wisdom, it can be touching, yeah. At the end of the day, like, we're here for laughs. And if you could find a way to teach a lesson in a very funny way, like she delivered, kudos to you.
Yes, that would stick with me more than anything anybody else would say. And that is the line that is stolen. I will be saying that all summer long to people.
I'm glad that you and I connected on that, because it was hard to top that moment for me. That was a grand moment. And then, we go to scene 6 in the kitchen, where we're still on this Carl doing taxes B story with Laura seated next to him doing homework. This is where I just noticed, does Laura have a bloated yellow blouse-like shirt on? What the fuck is that?
It looked puffy, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should just be done questioning Laura's fashion and just like let her find herself.
I hope in season 2 we get a fashion change. I'm going to probably start it this weekend just to see and tickle my fancy, because whatever she wore in this episode, every outfit was ugly. I didn't like either one.
So maybe next season is when Laura starts working at that restaurant that Aunt Rachel also works at. Maybe that's when we start to see some uptick. I cannot wait to get into that, because you see it in the opening credits, like Laura dressed up in her restaurant worker's outfit, Rachel dressed up and posing in front of the camera with the restaurant background behind her. So can't wait to see Laura's fashion hopefully get better by then.
It's going to. Fingers crossed.
And then Carl's clumsy tax work revealing, holy shit. So not only does this guy somehow get a poultry farmer tax form, but somehow he owes the government $94,000. Way to go, Carl.
I need to know what he did to get to these numbers.
Woo! And then Harriet going behind Carl's back to get the taxes done properly. Yes, not the greatest thing for their marriage in terms of like trust communication. That being said, the $94,000 reveal clearly indicated Carl was failing terribly, and he went and look, and he did go from outraged that Harriet went behind his back to like relieved very quickly that Harriet did the taxes and was able to get them a $700 refund. So it all works out.
It works out. I support Harriet in this moment. I know that it is something that could be very destructive for a relationship to not tell your partner that you're going to go deal with somebody that they don't want to deal with. But in this scenario, I would have done the same thing. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I will apologize later, but I need to make sure that we can still have a roof over our heads.
Yeah. Because like you said, like it's one thing, like if it's your partner's money and their money alone, let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. But when you're playing with my money, I think it's fair to say, okay, I've told you again and again that this is not the best way to go about this. You're not going to listen to me. So I think I'll handle this because I need my monies to be great.
Yes, I need my money in order. And I need to know what Carl did to get $93,000. I was like, what did you put on those boards?
Oh my God. That is like, that'll give you a heart attack. Seeing that, like, whoa, okay, I don't make anywhere near that in a year. How am I going to pay that off very quickly? Like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh. Poor Carl.
And then my last thing is, I just found that, this is where I thought that they had a very weird, abrupt close to this B story that could have been necessary if it was more fleshed out or slightly varied. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, maybe I'm thinking about it differently now that we've like reviewed it. It had some funny moments here and there. I think, you know what? Now, as we've gone through it, I'm thinking that because of the funny moments that we've experienced with this B story, I could have used more. I think it deserved a lot more than just, okay, we're just going to abruptly end this and now just pivot right back to Eddie's band story. So I think that's where I'm at right now with this.
I understand. I can understand where you're at, where us talking about it now, while I love the story, I've noticed in all of our other episodes, typically the stories have a way to kind of like relate to each other in some way, shape, or form. This one doesn't seem to really relate to the A story at all.
And then we go to scene 7. We are back in the garage with a depressed Eddie seated and thinking about how he broke up with the band while Steve seems to be packing up the camera. I found it weird that Carl was entering to see how Eddie was doing because this is immediately after his tax story just ended. I just felt like, let's give Carl some breathing room because we just saw him in this light and now automatically he's going from clumsy, goofy tax dad to consoling, comforting, warm lesson dad. Like, it just, two different personalities. Too much. I need some breathing room.
I did find it very weird that he immediately walked in with different energy because I'm like, did the $700 really make you feel that much better?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you just were suddenly told, hey, you're making $700 right now, I mean, I think you'd be happy.
I would. I'd actually be like, hey, okay, this is really good. Let me just go enjoy my money.
Yeah. What would you do? What would you do? Like, someone give you $700. What would you do with it?
I am buying Kit Kats and peanut butter. I'm going to pay my car note. I'm going to pay my electricity bill. And then the rest of the money I'm going to buy video games with.
Wow. You thought of that really quickly.
I know exactly what I don't want to have to pay out of my own money every time I have to pay for it.
All right. I thought that, like, you were going to go out to the bar, get shit-faced, whatever. I thought that was going to be somewhere lumped in there, but nope. You were like, video games, Kit Kat, car note. I'm good.
There we go. That's all I need.
All right. And Carl is asking Urkel. I love this moment. When Carl asked Urkel if he and Eddie could be alone, Urkel, like, he didn't get that meant him and Eddie. So he was like, oh, sure. Eddie, would you mind if me and Carl had a moment alone, please?
I love that Urkel just did not pick up on it.
It was great. It was great. It was great. And then, God, what a moment of slapstick comedy that ensues when Carl confirms to Urkel that he would like to talk to Eddie. And Urkel says he now gets it and will just tiptoe out of here. But of course, he just ends up tripping over a shit ton of band equipment on the way out. And then somehow after he's exited, what the fuck was that sound effect after he exited? Was that a car engine exploding? Was that a gunshot? Like, what was that?
I have no idea. It was the weirdest loud sound ever. And I love everybody's reaction. Everybody acted their butt off in this scene. But when you saw Urkel flip over the thing in the back through the doorway, did it look like he really got hurt? Because it looked like that was not intentional.
I think I found it to be partially believable and partially, okay, Jaleel is doing rehearsed choreography and I think he's making sure that he's not gonna get hurt here. Understandable. You don't want that workman's comp at 13, 14, whatever the fuck he is. So that's what I thought. I think after he exited and he was just like, oh, don't worry, just a scratch. After we just heard like the most violent sound ever. It was like, did he get shot in the ass? Like, what happened?
You're like, somebody's dead out there.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It was just, this is where I kind of think I will agree with you, where I think like, all right, they're really taking advantage of Urkel's slapstick comedy value. They may be taking advantage of it just a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm. That was the perfect amount of it for me. Everything else that we got of his physical slapstick humor, I didn't need.
When Carl and Eddie have their lesson moment, is Eddie wearing black dress shoes with no socks on?
That's what it looks like. I had the same question.
What's your opinion about that look? I'm not a big fan of the dress shoes with no socks. I see it all the time. You know, guys having the suit and the pant leg up to their ankles, the shoes and no socks. I hate it, to be honest with you. What do you think?
I have never been a fan of guy capris because that's what those are. Those are capris. I've never been a fan of it. I think it is very weird to have on dress shoes with no socks or like the no-show socks because it just looks uncomfortable. special.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just never been a fan of this new look that's happening.
It's a look. It's a look. And if you watch Love is Blind on Netflix, you'll find a lot of douchey guys that dress like that. It's a look. And I guess Eddie Winslow, I mean, this is 1990. I mean, this look wasn't really quite in 1990, but Eddie started the trend. So there you go, Darius McCrary. Thanks.
Trendsetter. You did it.
And then we have sappy background music playing to indicate that Carl is about to teach Eddie an important lesson about teamwork. And I found this line that Carl said actually hit deep. You know, son, when someone decides to go on an ego trip, they're traveling alone. I was like, oh shit, Carl, poetry.
After school special, he was ready.
He was. And then after Carl's dad lectured to Eddie, Urkel nervously comes back in to retrieve his camera tripod and insists that they won't even know he's there. But of course, he makes himself obvious again by having the end of the tripod knock over a stacked mountain shelf full of stuff in that garage. I thought that Urkel could have ended that slapstick comedy with a "did I do that?" But he just was like, oops, which I found weird.
I would have personally left his snorting laugh like he did when he knocked over the microphone. Yeah. But the oops was just, it was clunky. It wasn't good.
Maybe there's like a contractual thing where they're only allowed one "did I do that" per episode. If you go over that, then ooh, get ready. The cops will come after you.
Urkel's charging them royalties. They couldn't pay that.
Yeah. And then we have an unnecessarily abrupt fade to black to end this scene. It was weird. I felt like they could have ended the episode right there. They could have found a way to end the episode, but we have more. So we go into scene 8, Winslow family in the kitchen. They're all getting ready for dinner. And I'm just noticing Baby Richie there. Was Baby Richie in this episode at all up until this point?
Oh my God, I didn't even know he was there. That was one of my things. So my note is wrong. I was going to say one of my negatives. I didn't see Baby Richie at all.
Yeah. I mean, look, he doesn't talk. He doesn't really add much of anything. So I guess,
I was a little offended. I wanted Baby Richie in the music video.
You and 15 other people in the Family Matters Ultimate Fan Club. And as much as I understand the generosity of Carl offering to Eddie the whole family's help in making a new video just in time for the contest competition, I don't know. What do you think? Like, I kind of wish that they would have let Eddie figure it out just for the sake of like, oh, like you got to deal with the consequences of your own actions. Like, this is your contest that you wanted to enter with your guys. Your band guys broke up with you because of your narcissism. So teamwork is dream work, son. This is the lesson. And now figure it out. That's what I would have done. But I guess the family was kind of feeling responsible for Eddie's feelings. And we're like, oh, let's chip in. Let's help him out because we're family.
I didn't like that because I assumed that Carl was going to be like, Eddie, you got to go eat your broccoli and get these band members back together. And that would have been far better of an ending than just, oh, we're just going to get together as a family and let's not talk about the actually true apology that Eddie needs to give to people. So Eddie kind of got away scot-free in this one.
Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, the band members just walked off on him. No apology he gave to them. We didn't see that. He just kind of said, all right, I'm going to give my apology indirectly in the form of making a music video with my family. And we end scene 8 with me kind of shouting at the computer because I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, it's only 3 minutes left in this episode. We're already on to another scene. What Rich Carell, you of all people should know better than anyone that less is more, especially after that last episode. What was that last episode? Like 6 scenes long? And this one is like almost at 10 scenes now?
Right. He did not know when enough was enough. We were done. We were done.
Oh boy. And then we get to scene 9, 2 weeks later. Oh, okay. The Winslow family and Urkel in front of the TV. They're watching Chicago Teen Tracks live to see if Eddie's revised video won. And then aside from a dressy, untucked button down, this is where I'm noticing that Eddie's fashion has been pretty casual in this episode up until this point. Now we see him back. He's like in this tucked in turtleneck and dress pants look. He's that suave date night Eddie look that we've been seeing lately for the last few episodes.
Yeah, he's giving us his Bobby Brown fantasy again.
And then Harriet wearing that shirt again that is giving me the Barney the Dinosaur vibes. That's the green, purple, and a white striped shirt. I think in a previous episode recap, I had mentioned to you that it was giving me Barney orgy vibes. And you looked clearly disturbed by that, which I understand because it's Barney and it's orgy put together. And especially with that dinosaur's plastered smile, you don't want to have that associated with a good time. So I get that. And I apologize for that previous instance. And also this current instance in which I put that disturbed image in your head again.
Yes, you have literally reawoken my trauma. I am not going to be able to get this out of my head for a week again.
That's what I'm here for, to make life so bad for everybody in their head. And then we have the announcer on TV confirming that the first place winner is the Rappin Winslows. Did you like that name? I mean, I was like, really, guys? Like, come on now. Could we at least have gone with like the Wicca Winslows? Like, give me some like alliteration or something. I don't know, but the Rappin Winslows? Really?
Why do they have to be the Rappin Winslows? Like, that was not a good title at all.
All right, give me your thoughts on this Rappin Winslows music video. Give me the full breakdown of what you thought of it.
So, as a kid, did you ever watch any of the like music videos that they would show on like Nickelodeon, and it was like the little kids music videos, like Lil Romeo, or what was that show? Zoom? Do you remember Zoom?
Yeah, that was on PBS though. Yeah.
Yes, it was like watching an episode of Zoom in this music video. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, it felt very like 90s. It had that like, feel. Like, it was interesting. I'm kind of upset that we didn't get a tie-in from the A and B story in the music video. Yeah. Like, I was hoping like Carl would maybe be like rapping about doing taxes, or he'd have receipts flying all over the place or something. Like, we could have tied the whole story in together, and we didn't get that. But I did like it. It was a great way to end the season. I feel like it was really good to do that.
Yeah, that video, it was a cheesy 80s, 90s family music video, Zoom on PBS something. I mean, where do I begin? God, we have Mama Winslow on the DJ turntables. We have Eddie rapping with his oversized, loud color suit that totally fits the time period. We have Rachel providing the R&B vocals. We have Laura and Judy. They're like a singing dancing combo that are sort of acting as Eddie's background singer dancers. And I think both in the beginning of this music video and when Eddie, Laura, and Judy were doing their dance, were they doing an early version of the Crip Walk? Remember the Crip Walk? Were they doing that? With their feet?
It looked like it. It did look like it. I don't know what that move was they were doing, but I immediately thought Crip Walk.
Yeah. Side note, I was a good Crip Walker back in middle school. Like, people would ask me like a dancing monkey to do the Crip Walk in front of like the school hallway in front of everybody, and I just would do it because I was getting the love from classmates that I wasn't getting from home. I'm kidding.
I am jelly if you know how to Crip Walk. I am very jelly because I could never do it.
I did it the other day and I was like, damn it, John, you still got it 20 years later. Even with your beer belly, you still got the Crip Walk.
Hey, put on a little Snoop. You're good.
There you go. Now I just fart now every time I do a Crip Walk because of my... Well, no, because you're putting the belly to work, and every time you move the belly, sounds come out. So there you go.
Little squeak here and there.
Did you have just a big oh my god moment just looking at Carl? Like, Carl was supposed to be like one of the members of Run DMC with his fashion. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, he had the hat, the sunglasses, the little Reebok Adidas, fucking tracksuit. Like, what the fuck was that?
He had his chain on. Carl was ready. I feel like Carl had his moment here. He looked so happy.
And I will say it's infectious to see Carl happy. If Carl is happy in that moment, if he's totally getting into it, like, great. What I wasn't a fan of, where it kind of made me cringe, maybe I had a little bit of chuckle. Remember that chorus line in the song? We are a family. We do things together, not separately. Like, maybe I'm singing it wrong, but I love how in that chorus line. So you were talking about like how like you're sad that they didn't incorporate like the A and B story into this. I felt like they were actually incorporating the lesson that Eddie was taught by Carl from this A story in that one line. The fact that teamwork is the dream work. We don't do things alone. We do things together. And then the video ends with a single shot of all the family together singing the chorus. And I just got Cosby Show vibes. Remember all the opening theme credits of the Cosby Show throughout the 8 years of that show's run, where it's just a family dancing together, and then boom, like the ending shot of it is just, the ending shot is of Bill's face doing whatever the fuck he was doing, like mugging to the camera, but you know what I mean. Like the second to last shot was the family all together just having a good time.
Yeah, it gave me those vibes. It also looked very awkward, like when they stopped moving and did the freeze frame. I was like, I can't stare at the television for this.
The freeze frame, oh god. I'm advocating for the return of the freeze frame. The freeze frame was a very 80s 90s thing that that should come back because it's such a dramatic way to end a show and it's not needed. But maybe there are some people that are dumb enough who think, wait, is the show over? I don't know. The credits have rolled up, but is it really over? I don't know. The freeze frame, once it stops, it's like the equivalent of like when you pause the show yourself at home. It stops now.
You know that it's over when you get that freeze frame. I actually miss getting freeze frames at the end of shows. So bring it back.
Or just do what the fuck Buddy Goodrich did in his fake television show in that episode where they pretended to do a freeze frame where they just like literally froze their bodies. Him and his TV sons. That too. That would work.
That would work really well.
Oh my God. Well, Andrew, and on that note, I mean, obviously I think we agree that it would have made totally a lot of sense for Eddie to make up with his band members and to produce a video with them instead. I think that could have been more effective, more cool, but alas, we get this way to close out the season. And I guess I can see what the Family Matters writers and producers are going for, because if they were looking for a way to close out a season, it probably would be where to close it out with just Eddie and his friends. So seeing that the Winslows are still kind of the star of the show, maybe this was their way of being like, hey, grand finale, curtain call for the Winslows until next fall.
It could have been great. You know what I would love? This is a competition. It's almost like America's Home Videos or Funniest Videos is kind of what the format seems like. I would have loved it if Eddie would have made up the band members. They would have made their video and the entire family was like at the crowning or award ceremony. And then they could have had like a great moment where they're all cheering for Eddie or something. Yeah. It just feels weird that he never made up with his friends.
And they could have had a freeze frame on the family cheering. That would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been a great time. Ugh, Judy jumping in the air, freeze frame. What?
It was on ice. Freeze frame.
I would have loved that. I would have loved that.
What was one of Judy's classic lines throughout the season that I...
Oh, my feet.
Oh, my feet. Freeze frame. End of season. Oh, God. Well, you know what? Speaking of the end of season, that is truly the end of season. We just wrapped up season 1. Explain how our rating system works. How are we going to review this season finale for the folks listening who may not know how we do this?
We are going to rate this season finale like a dinner that you're going to have at a fancy restaurant. Small plate. That's how you know it's expensive. So our first part of our ratings are appetizer. This what drew you into the episode? What made you want more? What sparked your appetite for the funness of this episode? You may not have an appetizer, and that's okay. Sometimes you just get right to the entree or the main course. That's going to be our section where what filled you up, what sustained you, what was the biggest part of your meal that really hit, and like maybe your little soft spots and filled your crevices. And then our dessert, that is your topping, the like little extra kiss on top where it's something that ends your meal. You're very happy about it. It's probably the highlight of your meal. And then we've got junk food, which is just nothing. We could have done without it. Throw it on the floor, send it back to the kitchen. We don't need it. My appetizer for this episode is actually the tax story. The story about the taxes was really good. I just needed more. So it was like getting 5 mozzarella sticks instead of 6. When you typically get 6 and you're just like, what do I do with this huge like dollop of marinara sauce in the cup? I don't have any more sticks for it. Yeah. And that's what the tax story was for me. It was like, we needed some more development, but it did actually give us like a good little reprieve from the main story. Something a little funny, something a little out there. So it was not bad. My entree, that is going to be Eddie's story. So this is the first time for me, I think, where the actual A story is my entree. I did like that we got the band. We got some funny moments and lines with everybody in the family. We got a music video. Eddie got to live out his Bobby Brown fantasy in the first one, which was still bad. But the music, when he started singing, I don't know how everybody did not start laughing in that moment. Because it's so funny, like just him screaming these lyrics is hilarious. And then my dessert, I have 2 desserts for this. I ordered 2.
Okay.
Mama Winslow and that damn line. Yep. It is the highlight of this episode for me. It's just so good. I cried laughing when she said that. It was that good. And then my other little topping to that dessert is the music video. I like it. The song isn't good, but it's flashy. It moves. Admittedly, I watched that music video 4 times out of 3 times that I've tried to rewatch this episode. I literally rewound back just to watch it again. And then my junk food, the father and son moment, I didn't need it. I didn't need it. That I felt like was very inconsequential to the story since we never got Eddie making up with his bandmates. So I just felt like it was a throwaway scene because there was no real follow through. And then Urkel and his physical comedy outside of the one time. And that's when he first leaves Carl and Eddie in the garage. That's the only time that the physical humor was funny. I didn't need any other bit of it. It was throwaway for me. And the cold open, we could have done without it. The cold open could have been Carl realizing it's tax day. He did not file the taxes.
Man, so you got like a depressed person who just got fired from their jobs. You got that kind of junk food where it's just like, I'm just going to get chips and Little Debbie's and I'm going to eat myself to sleep and never wake up.
Yes, I am going to eat a pound of cream cheese.
God. Gonna slather the cream cheese up with butter on top. Going back to Harriet's outfit in the music video, what did you not like about it? I'm finding a hard way to describe it because it was like this gray, black, white dress that was also a silk roby jacket. Like, what? How do you describe that? I think it was also a pantsuit. What was it?
It kind of looked like a fashion workout tracksuit combination. I didn't like it. I thought it looked bad. Like, it just looked weird. You couldn't tell if it was supposed to be more athletic streetwear or if it was supposed to be nighttime wear, or maybe she was going to the Met Gala. Like, that outfit was just weird. Like, it didn't move well in the video. So it looked like it was very rigid, even though it was supposed to look very flowy. And then on top of that, the color was just ugly.
Granted, Mama Winslow, I mean, she just literally had an outfit that she would just wear any day, like her grandma dress thing. So in that context, I guess Mama Winslow will excuse her, but everybody else, I loved how they had like a clear hip hop casual or hip hop suave thing going on. And it seemed like with Harriet, it was like, okay, let's dress her up, but let's try to dress her up in a Harriet way that makes sense. Maybe whoever costumed her thought that Harriet wouldn't vibe with a very hip hoppity style, but I think she could have blended in nicely.
They could have given her a tracksuit just like Carl had a tracksuit, and she could have been another member of Run DMC.
Yeah. So my appetizer, when Urkel in that cold open, hi Laura, my little sweet potato. I just loved that. I thought it was look, the cold open in general wasn't much to look at, but I thought that was just a nice touch to an otherwise meh cold open. So I'll give that as my appetizer. It started things off on the right note. Urkel knows how to greet Laura with those funny lines that will temporarily excuse his stalkeriness. So we get to the main course, and that is just like you, a story. And to dive deeper into it, in Eddie's band leadership, I really loved in this main course how we got a spoonful of narcissism and decision making that was nothing but impulsive and disorganized. I loved it because there are consequences for that behavior, and even though we got those consequences wrapped up in a really weird way by the family helping Eddie out rather than Eddie apologizing to the band members and trying to make a new video for them, still the lesson was to be learned, and that I will take for now. For the dessert, this may be the only time that you and I actually have the same dessert. Mama Winslow, that line, I repeat, Eddie, you know I love you and wouldn't want to say anything to hurt you. Good night. I mean, would we say that's the best Mama Winslow line of the season? That's going to be hard to say because she's had so many good lines.
She's had some good ones, but for me, this is the best line of any character the entire season. It sent me, like, I was crying. That's how good it was.
Yeah, as we're thinking about this, I'm thinking like, oh my God, close second place could be the line where, she's like, it's something about like where like, Carl wasn't his great-grandfather's name. It was the Carl was the name of the great-grandfather's horse. There's that. Oh, and when Carl, Mama Winslow, Harriet, and Rachel, they were stranded in Sheboygan on the way to Carl's brother's birthday party. And I forgot what the fucking context was, but Mama Winslow was like, Carl, please, we need to use your body for warmth. there was that. I mean, there's just too many moments. There's too many moments, but I will say, God, if there was a better line, I don't know if there was a better line to close out the season. I think that was that Mama Winslow's last line of the season.
Was that her last line? I don't think she had any other lines.
It might have been.
Yeah, because she doesn't say anything in the song.
Yeah, no, not really.
Okay, that was her line. She ended on a high note. Yes, Mama Winslow.
Bravo, Estelle. And then finally, my junk food. I did put the B story with Carl doing taxes. Like I said, I felt like it was, well, maybe I didn't say this quite much, but I did feel like it was fairly rushed. And we've already seen Carl defiantly claiming he can do something that Harriet tells him he cannot do. So if it's not going to be fleshed out more, like I wanted this story to be, to maybe include something more that we haven't seen before, then I don't know. Do we need it? That's questionable. Another possibly unpopular opinion, I will put the Rappin Winslow family music video at the end because I was just watching it and I was like, what is going on? What is this? Because, like, yes, the Winslow family has a warmth that draws you in, and I could see whoever came up with this idea that's probably what they had in mind. Like, oh yeah, this will be very heartwarming and adorable for the Winslows to do this. But something about it just felt a little bit off, a little bit out of character. I just that was an entire production that I couldn't quite see the Winslows coming together with so smoothly like that. That was just too out of control. Maybe something that you would see on another show, maybe like a Hanging with Mr. Cooper or something. And I think another reason why the music video just didn't hit with me as well as it might have hit you is because, again, it just gives Eddie a get out of jail free card from apologizing to his bandmates and trying to do the right thing and make up with them and make a video with them where they actually work together as the team that they should be. So that was my junk food. That's my entire rating system. So before we close out, Andrew, let's see if we could do some like quick fire thoughts on our main characters. We can break down the Winslow family and Urkel. What are your thoughts on? Here's what I'll do. So I'll just break it down and just ask you about each character and give me your thoughts on Carl from beginning of season to end of season. What do you think?
Carl, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, has stagnated in growth. I'm going to give him that. Like, he has had some fun moments, but I haven't seen Carl actually change too much. It's always him taking on a lot more than he should. This seems to be a running thing with the family. But he's also, instead of putting more pressure on the kids, he's been putting more pressure on himself. So I've only seen him redirect his pressure, like forcing the taxes on himself, the bathroom, what was the water bill? All these things that he's forcing on himself when he could actually, like he said to the family, if I don't know something's going on, how can I help? He's got to be like, okay, I cannot do this, y'all. I need help. And Carl has not gotten to the point of asking for help. He's just taking things on.
Interesting. Wow, that is interesting commentary. I found Carl started us off as very goofy, very lovable. I remember saying in the pilot episode that Reginald just had this animated, infectious, theatrical dad energy that I just loved. And I of course I do remember telling you how much I did not like Carl when he was just doing that pressuring immigrant dad thing on Eddie. And oddly enough, I found that when Urkel came along, Carl started to be more likable to me. I do agree. I did not actually see the point until you brought it up that, yeah, he actually has transferred the pressure from the kids to himself via things like the taxes. But I think I was just more in tune to the fact that, like, wow, we're seeing more of the parts of Carl Winslow that made me love him in the first place. I think when Urkel came along, it was like, oh, here's another goofball, but God, this goofball has a lot more flaws than Carl, and it's just more notable. So now I look at Carl and I'm like, oh yeah, he's like the best. Yeah, I'm going to say he's probably the best sitcom dad right now to me. I think that Cliff Huxtable used to be it, but, you know, the real guy kind of tainted that. So now Carl Winslow is the top to me. I cannot wait to see more of that, and I hope to see more of that. What are your thoughts about Harriet from season 1 beginning to season 1 end?
I've already loved Harriet from episode 1. She's been giving us what I need in a mom character with like a dad in the family who you don't always know where he's at. Kids are a little all over the place, but Harriet Harriet is just like the stable force. I can definitely say from episode 1 to this final episode, Harriet just seems more comfortable on camera than she did in the beginning, which I already knew she felt comfortable, but it just seems like she's like owning the stage and presence even more.
And hopefully she's learning to season her chicken this time.
Yes, and putting mayonnaise on those sandwich, a little mustard, something, a little moisture. Those are dry.
Yeah. Oh God. So I've always loved Harriet's great, sassy, witty humor. And you and I have both acknowledged that there has to be an imaginary gay writer somewhere giving Harriet lines, because she just comes up with those comebacks like nobody's business, especially when Carl is being stupid. And oh God, I mean, can we count how many memorable fashion moments Harriet has had? I mean, we just mentioned the Candyland sweater. We not too long ago when she had sweats with heels. That was a moment. So, some ups and downs. But hey, I mean, and I think she did actually have a mint chocolate chip cookie kind of dress going on when Eddie was working out in the living room in that episode with Urkel. So that was a moment I think we liked. So Harriet's fashion has been notable, more positive than negative, I would say. And that is something to be admired. Estelle Mama Winslow, what do you think about her from beginning to end?
She has had a great season, even though she wasn't present in all the episodes. Every time Mama Winslow's there, it's memorable. We have fun with her. Her wit and her line delivery just have gotten better and better and better as the season has gone on. I look forward to seeing her. And that's something that I didn't expect to feel this go around of watching this.
Yeah, and I think with Mama Winslow, even though like you want to see more of her, I get that point. I also maybe think like, maybe that's a good thing that we don't see as much of her, because the classic saying, less is more. The less you see somebody, the more you want them. And it's possible that if we saw a lot of Mama Winslow, maybe we'd just tire of her very quickly. Maybe we would find her too mean to Carl, or we would find her to be like the Black Betty White. I found that throughout the season, she's certainly had wonderful moments of elderly wisdom with both the entire family. We go back to the episode, literally the last one, when they were all competing against each other, battle of the sexes with the bowling, and Mama Winslow, put some sense into them that they're just fighting like children. And then individually, oh my God, I mean, let's remember like a million years ago when she was having that moment with Rachel about like, oh, you're hesitant to go out with Alan on this date because you're still not over your dead husband. So there's that. I know she had a meaningful emotional moment with Laura from the quilt episode when the quilt was returned. Fantastic deadpan face dry humor that gets us back to why we love Mama Winslow so much. She knows how to close a scene. We can clearly see that. I mean, she had a way to go Carl moment from a while ago. She closed out a scene here really well. So next season, I think the only improvement that I want in Mama Winslow is that she kind of love her son a little bit more. That would be great. Give Carl Otis Winslow some love.
Right. Love them equally. You have multiple children to tell.
Yeah. How about Rachel? What do you think about Rachel from beginning to end?
I've had fun with Rachel on her journey. I've had a lot of fun with her. I do feel like it is time for us to sit down and have the conversation that maybe therapy can be helpful. It is very helpful to talk to somebody about what you have going on, because Rachel is a running train wreck and I love her. I love her character, but she is all over, and I just want to see her get to a stable, steady relationship life, or just being single and not taking on the entire world.
Yeah. You and I are of a similar mind on this one. I have really loved Rachel as a supporting comic foil. I think she's had great moments with the bad saxophone playing in that one episode when she just walks away from the kitchen after just throwing down the recycling that she's trying to collect. Like, but no, people just want to have pie. Like that moment that we mentioned from I don't even know how many episodes ago, but Laura's first date episode where she was just going crazy about like making Laura's dress and, going all over the house and just talking to herself. That was great. When she was supporting Harriet from the stakeout episode, accusing Carl of something that he wasn't doing. They were accusing him of cheating on his female police partner. So Rachel as a supporting comic foil, Thelma Hopkins, she just has the chops. She knows how to deliver humor with her animated personality. She certainly knows how to sing. She's an attractive woman. She's just talented all over. And I say that and also say that, yes, it is time for some therapy because she just throws away good men that she's dated for like a second. She is gaslighting Rachel. She's definitely gaslit quite a bit this season, especially I think her and Mama Winslow, didn't they like tag team on gaslighting with Carl a little bit, especially
They sure did.
Yeah, and then she just is very look, as someone who's been in the artistic field with theater and whatnot, like I get it. We have those ADHD moments where we're like, I have an idea. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And then maybe you ask us like 30 seconds later, oh, what was that I wanted to do? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's so hard. Like there's a lot of that kind of energy going on. The lemon cream tart business, again, that speaks for itself. So I know we're not going to get it, but man, what would you think if you saw a season 2 storyline where we explored Rachel going to therapy?
Oh, I would watch that. Oh, that would be good. Yeah. So good.
Eddie Winslow from beginning to end. What did you think?
Eddie, okay, I feel like Eddie is all over the place. I feel like they are trying to figure out who Eddie is, and Eddie is in that awkward teenage phase where he's still figuring out who he is. So I feel like with our Eddie character and his storylines of him learning things, how to become more of an adult, how to like be a good friend, be a good person, he's picking up on some of the lessons, but just like any teenager, he's leaving out everything he doesn't want to like deal with or handle or hear. And I feel like hopefully in season 2, we get more of a clear defined Eddie. I want to know what Eddie's hobbies are. I don't want to feel like, whoa, I'm surprised he likes music and all of a sudden he's playing basketball again. Or I want them to have like Eddie fleshed out as a character because we're still just getting all over.
Yeah. I think for a lot of the season, we're getting one-dimensional, I'm a dumb male teenager and my sister picks on me and I only like girls. That's all I think about. Like that is what we've been getting a lot of. Some of it has been funny. And then there are moments where I have really appreciated how the writers have hinted at Eddie's potential to something greater. Him getting the produce job, standing up to his dad about not wanting to play basketball. Like that's his dad's dream, not Eddie's dream. And then especially the episode that we recapped not so long ago when Eddie ran for class president only to get girls. And then once he was standing out on that podium at the debate against, what was her name? Marcia?
Marjorie? Marge, something
like that. But Eddie was smart enough to see that like, wow, like, yeah, she's like seen as a nerd dweeb in front of the audience who's just chanting Eddie, Eddie. But Eddie had the smarts enough to realize that she's offering great ideas. She's offering substance. She deserves to win this. And rather than it just being a popularity contest where he just wants to do anything to win, he stepped aside. And wow, he had to lecture his campaign manager, Laura, who should have been the smart one to lecture Eddie on this, to say like, hey, Laura, like winning's not everything. Like this was the right thing to do. So you see those flashes of potential that Eddie has a brain. So I think especially when Waldo eventually comes along, I just hope we can see more of that because I'm sure that we're not going to get dumb Eddie and dumb Waldo once they become a duo, right?
I think that they kind of like make Eddie seem like the smarter of the two friends, but they still do have those moments where they do some dumb shit.
Oh, and we've also discussed how Eddie has grown a million inches from beginning of season to end of season. I mean, if you see him in the beginning of the season, he's just like this tiny kid who just wants to see Rambo at 2 a.m. with his friend. And now, God, the guy's like 7 feet tall. He's like dressed up in these suave date night outfits all the time. He used to dress like a recess kid, but now it's just like, oh yeah, I got the tucked in turtleneck. I got the dress pants. I'm Eddie Winslow, motherfucker. So we're going to see him grow up even more. I know that for a fact. He's just not going to get any younger. Laura, what do you think about Laura from beginning to end?
Laura has had a bit of a growth. Like we have seen Laura develop from this very book nerd-ish character to more of just this funny middle sister who's just there to just be a little spiteful, but also fun. She's learning. She's picking up on some good lessons. We've actually seen Laura grow. Now, unfortunately, Laura has had not the best trip with this family so far. I mean, they sold her on a date. That's like a big one.
Yep.
They set her up for failure with this garage sale and not really backed her up. And then we've got her we're being traumatized by the grades. Laura has had a bad run of this, but I am seeing that she's becoming more of a friendly sister. And it seems like she's more likable towards the end of the season than the beginning, where some of her jokes towards Eddie just seemed a little harsh.
I don't know if I like Laura. I don't know. I mean, I don't hate her, but when I was faced with the question of like, oh, do I like Laura from beginning to end? Like, have I liked her now? And I can't quite grab an opinion on her. I do know that we've seen some mean middle child behavior from her towards Eddie and Judy. Certainly from her mom, Harriet, she's got a feisty, witty intelligence. She's got some sass to her. So that can be useful going forward, especially when you're dealing with the creepy stalkery likes of Urkel. I think she could be a little bit kinder. I think she has a lot of talent in her, and I think that kindness goes a long way. So I think if she was just a little bit kinder to her siblings, maybe just a wee bit kinder Urkel while also being direct with them about like, no, I don't want you, that could make a difference. Her fashion, let's hope that improves because God, if I see another cow printed sweater in season 2, mm-mm.
You're gonna get leopard print.
Oh God, gonna get doggy print, just nice doggy and kitty print.
No, if she has a cow print, not cow print, like a paw print sweater, I have to see it.
Yeah.
That would be cute.
That would be great. That would be great. But no, we're gonna get rodent print. What do you think about our Judy?
So Judy has had the biggest transformation this season. She started off as a very creepy looking Annabelle doll like girl, and then she became the great Jamie Foxworth that we love.
Yeah.
So she has had the most massive transformation as far as that. What I do love that we have seen as Judy has progressed through the actual season, her first episode where she had lines, she seemed very timid, at least to me, like she seemed a little nervous. And now that we've gotten her through, I mean, we've gotten great lines like, oh my God, my feet. Or when she's at the party and she takes a picture to blackmail Laura and Eddie for this party, we start seeing her develop more as the youngest sister who, you know, is always there to get into something and also get their older siblings in trouble. But she's the baby of the family. Mm-hmm. It's just been nice to see her on screen just developing more. Like she just, by the time we get to, oh, what was the episode? Oh my God, I'm blanking. When she came in with Mama Winslow and I think, were selling cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the Big Fix episode?
Yeah, that was, I think that was Rachel's first date.
Oh, Rachel's first date. Okay. That's when I was like, okay, we're going to get some fun out of Judy because it seemed like she was finally having fun on camera.
I think that's when I came up with my alternative for store brand Girl Scout cookies. I think I called them feminine soldier cookies.
Feminine soldier cookie. You want some feminine soldier cookie?
Yeah. Hey, that still could be an idea along with Jon and Andrew's grandma groupies. So for Judy, look, I mean, we've seen little of her, and that's probably going to be a theme throughout her 4 seasons, unfortunately. And whatever we've seen of her, I think they're brief, adorable child actor moments. Every now and then, yeah, you'll get a great, I mean, my feet kind of line. That's wonderful. I loved it. I'm hoping we'll see more of her next season. Her and Mama Winslow are different. Mama Winslow, I don't want to see more of because I'm afraid it'll get ruined, her magic. Judy, I think we should see more of because she is a member of this family. If Eddie and Laura are getting the shine that they've been getting, then give Judy something. I mean, Tyron Perry said it, like Jamie's got a resume. She's got experience. Give her some stories. So that is my hope for season 2. Yes, I agree that it's so great to have Jamie, who looks skin tone wise like this family, who dresses similar to her siblings, dresses similarly in tone to the entire family in general. Valerie Jones, God bless her. I'm sure she's doing great. But yeah, like you said, it's like, oh yeah, this normal 80s, 90s family. And then this creepy doll that came from the 30s, who I think you said at the beginning spoke like she was a Japanese anime character. Is that what you said?
She did. She really spoke like a Japanese anime character. I know she has gone on and done some great things in acting, but this role was not the one for her.
She played young Hillary in an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
She did. And she nailed that. That's a great episode, and she did a great job.
Had no idea. Thank you to @Judy Winslow Matters on Instagram for sending us that clip. That was a great one. I don't really have much of anything to say about Richie because he's a baby and he doesn't really say much. What do you have to say about Richie?
No, I was gonna troll and say Richie had such a change, but he did not have anything.
Do you think we're going to get grown up Richie? Like, are we going to get Brian McClure next season?
I don't think we get him just yet. Well, actually, I don't know. Because I remember Baby Richie was not a baby for long.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like baby and then boom, Brian McClure.
We might get him.
Maybe.
I've got nothing on Richie. I mean, Richie, Baby Richie, you're super cute. You're the cutest little baby actor ever. But I've got nothing for you on this. You have not grown at all, and you should be ashamed.
Wow. Damn. Baby shaming. Baby growth shaming. That's a new one for you, Andrew Vandertunt. And then finally, our eventual star character. What do you think about Urkel?
From episode 12 to now, Steve has started to grow. I've noticed that we're getting like different trials of the did I do that, the sound of it, how long he holds his pauses. His physical humor is great. I am upset that when he bumped into the band equipment, he didn't say, excuse me. I'm actually very upset about that. I feel like that is something that they should have kept going, and it was gold. All the cold openings, Steve, I think there was maybe 2 cold openings with Steve that I liked. All the cold opening stuff, I didn't need it. I didn't need it. We could just start it at episode 12 and just kept him in.
Yeah. So I was going to actually say that. That was annoying. Those syndication co-opens prior to episode 12, that just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, where's the chronology? This is all out of order. It doesn't make sense. But that being said, even though you still have those random Urkel cold opens, you look at the show's identity transition from the quilt to Laura's first date, and Laura's first date not only being Urkel's first episode, but also Rich Carell's first directing episode. It's very clear. I mean, there's a pacing, there's a more emphasis on the comedic value of this neighbor that just comes into the Winslows' lives and just fucks everything up. Obviously, Urkel's non-consensual obsession with Laura does not age well today. It's probably going to be something that we get annoyed by every now and then the more we watch this show. And it could all relate to the love that he doesn't get from Herb and Diane, his parents. Could all tie back to that. They should be reported to child services. We will say that 156 times. That all being said, I think that Jaleel, he has a mix of child star adorableness and hilarious comic chops as Urkel. He demonstrated that from the get-go in episode 12. Great physical comedy chops. Rich Carell said it himself in the interview that we did with him. He basically wanted to find a kid Jerry Lewis, and Urkel is pretty much up there. And the lines that are written for him, the way he delivers them in his snorty, nasally way, his creepy, funny, goofy way, everything about him, it's just the full package. And Rich is right. Now, I thought that Urkel kind of immediately became the star from day one. He did not. Like, I think I can say still, even as we're ending season 1, that he's not the star just quite yet. He's getting there. But as of now, we're still seeing the Winslow family take front and center, and Urkel is just kind of becoming this like supporting funny character who's going to grow and grow on us. So we'll see where we are. I mean, season 2, I think he becomes officially part of the full cast in season 2. I think either at the beginning of season 2 or maybe midway, like we're going to stop saying guest starring Jaleel White. So get ready for that.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch season 2 now.
Yeah.
I was excited for a break, but now that we've gotten through it and we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens in season 2.
That is it. We are done with season 1. It is in the books. For you listening, you can find us at the Delicious. Well, I think some things will still say the same. I think our Gmail will still say the same for season 2. You can still find us at the deliciousrecap@gmail.com. Questions, comments, concerns, feedback. We will be going through a rebrand as we get to season 2 at Family Matters Rewatch Pod for now on our socials on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. But eventually we'll start incorporating the Delicious Recap name more in our socials. So just look out for that. We'll be sure to post an official announcement about that.
I can't wait to see how gray our beards are by the time we get to the end of the show. How much gray will there be on the screen?
There will be a lot, because I think that we are going to be looking at our 40s by the time we're done with this. But I have to ask you, I mean, because we both know Family Matters did not need to go for 9 seasons. Ask yourself this question. Are you really prepared for those clunkers? Because there will be a lot of them as we go by.
There are. And you know what? Once we get to those seasons, I'm going to tell you that I will probably be a very negative Nancy for a lot of those episodes.
Okay.
They're so bad.
I'm actually afraid, because you tend to be more positive than I am. I'm actually afraid that I would be the cynical guy that just brings the mood down. Like if we just want to have some episodes where you just completely shit on how awful it is, that's totally fine.
It will happen.
Yeah.
That Bruce Lee episode, how dare you?
But, going forward, I know we're not going to get Myra until season 4. I cannot wait for Myra. I know I'm going to like her, partially because I have a crush on Michelle Thomas. So there's that. Waldo. I think Waldo is going to be adorable. If he becomes annoying, that's questionable, but I know he's going to strike me as adorable from the beginning. Yeah, that's the kind of the things that I foresee. So we'll see when we get there. How can people follow you, Andrew?
Well, you guys can follow me. Just look up Vandertunt on the socials. It's Vandertunt. I actually have a Twitch page now. Same thing, Ajay Vandertunt. I have not posted anything there yet, so you can just find me. I just made sure I had the name on there. But in the future, I plan on to stream watching some Family Matters. So if you guys want to watch, you will be able to watch with me once I get that going.
Yeah. I was actually going to talk to you about that. So yeah, let's definitely make that an event. Anytime you are watching Family Matters episodes to prep for an episode, I think, you should build a Twitch community and talk about the Twitch followers that you've developed. I think that'll be a great thing.
It will. It'll be fun. It'll be enjoyable.
How would you sign us off in a way that celebrates that we have finally come to the end of season 1?
Have you ever eaten a warhead?
Yeah.
So this has been like a warhead. We popped in the piece of candy in the beginning. The sourness hit us right away. It was like lips tensed up because we started off with What a Wonderful World. That is where we started with. That was our first thing that we got for this show.
Ew.
And we ended with Steve Urkel tripping over equipment and almost killing people. This was a meal from Church's Chicken. It's delicious. And that deliciousness is going to ring, but you will remember this.